Every time I arrive to Prague by train, I'm always wondering how much does it cost to buy a flat up there with the view of a whole city. Well, someone just answered that question for me, and they paid 16 million Czech crowns for it. And get this, it sold in 3 days. My name is Robin Petrasek, I'm founder of Expats Finance, and since 2014, I've been helping foreigners buy, sell, and survive the Prague real estate market. Today, we're checking out a flat that proves a simple rule. In Prague real estate, views aren't just nice to have. They're worth about 2.5 million Czech crowns extra in this particular example. Let's see what money actually gets you. By the way, we select random, completed real estate transactions that we find interesting. We do not sell these specific flats. We only present them as a possible example of the reality of the real estate market in Prague. Now, back to the video and see this flat in detail. Right here on Italská Street 2565 in Vinohrady is a 75 square meter apartment that just redefined expensive. It sold in August 2025 for over 16 million Czech crowns. That's 237,000 crowns per square meter, which for context is more than people pay for an older car. Imagine having the choice of 1 meter square or a car. Would you rather buy this flat or get a fleet of 75 cars? I mean, if I want to start a bold fleet service, I might go with cars. But realistically, cars typically lose on value, while properties in Prague, that's another story. And we're in this story. So what do you get when you pay premium price like this? I guess it's the view. But also, you're living in Vinohrady, one of Prague's most desirable districts. 5 minutes walk to main station, relatively close to Náměstí Míru metro or Můstek. You're surrounded by the kind of cafes where people actually work on their MacBooks, without irony. But the real selling point, step onto the balcony and you're looking at all what Prague has to offer. Like in a medieval theme park. Castle, bridges, red roofs, oh, and the huge roof of the main train station. Now the downsides. You're on a main street, which means noise level hit about 70 to 75 decibels. It also doesn't help that this building is right above the train station. We can hear right now when is the next train departing to Beroun. Picture this, at 6 a.m. you're enjoying your morning coffee, if you woke up that early, with your million-crown view, and suddenly, clank clank, whoo, is the next 5:47 train to Brno, which reminds you that Czech Railway don't believe in sleeping in. But do you remember the old days when the train brakes were squeaking like a pig going for slaughter? I am glad these times are gone. I mean, for the train brakes. Not sure if the pigs would agree. The good news, after a few months, you'll either develop selecting hearing or become the most well-informed person about Prague's train schedule. Oh, and here's a random fact. I'm 99% sure you don't know what a thoroughentologist means, but I think you can guess it. It's a person who likes trains. If you are one of those people, maybe you don't care about the views at all, you just simply love trains. And parking? Well, you're in the zones Prague 2 and Prague 3, which means up to 60 crowns per hour and a maximum of 3 hours. So basically, you will spend more on parking than most people spend on lunch. Now let me put this in this perspective. Park your car for a full day and you've just paid 540 crowns. That's roughly what a good dinner costs for two. Park here regularly and your monthly parking bill will exceed some people's grocery budgets. That's why the locals have a saying, in Prague we don't own cars, we rent very expensive street decorations. It's not that bad though, because you're not going to park your chariot like a peasant's outside. There is an underground garage, of course, maybe in the next building, but you can afford that. And if you happen to work in Deloitte, you can go to work in your slippers, because from your home to your work, it's 30 meters. For public transportation, this location has something to offer. Bus 135 at Churchill Square is right outside. Náměstí Míru metro is walking distance this way. The main train station is literally downhill, so you're basically living inside Prague's transport hub. I mean, yes, we can be spoiled and say, oh, the metro is too far away. It's like 10 minutes walk to Můstek or museum, but come on. The building was completed in 2008, which in the Prague Vinohrady terms makes it practically space-age technology. Proper isolation, modern systems, and an elevator that actually works. The flat itself benefits from being in a smaller building, only 14 apartments, so you won't be sharing your elevator with half of Vinohrady. Plus, at this price point, your neighbors aren't probably the type of people who blast music at 2 a.m. But we've seen some people with luggages indicating some Airbnb in the building. I wouldn't be surprised due to its premium location. Energy-wise, you're looking at a decent performance for a building from 2008. It's not a passive house standard, but it's not going to bankrupt you in heating bills. Not that you care, really. The building itself was completed in 2008, so it's relatively modern. 5 floors, 14 apartment total in this block, and yes, it has an elevator, because at 237,000 per square meter, you shouldn't have to climb stairs unless you want to. But here's the thing, similar flats in this area usually sell for around 180,000 per square meter, or a bit less. So what made this one worth 2.5 million more? 2 words: the view and the modern building. Let's talk numbers. At 16 million, this flat could probably rent for around 80 to 85,000 crowns per month, assuming you find someone who wants to pay premium rent for premium views. That gives you roughly an ROI of 3.75%, which is not bad for Prague. But let's be honest, if you're buying this flat, you're not buying it for the yield. You're buying it because you want to wake up every morning and think, yeah, this is my view. Similar apartments in the building rent for 70 to 85,000 per month, and they get snapped up pretty fast, because apparently there is enough people in Prague who think paying such a premium rent to look over Castle View and the train station is perfectly reasonable. The ideal buyer, an expat executive who wants to impress clients, an investor who believes views will only get more expensive, or someone who's always dreamed of living in a place where every window is basically a screensaver. It's for people who've reached a point in life where they'd rather pay 2.5 million extra than wake up looking at a brick wall, where the morning coffee ritual includes panoramic views of a UNESCO World Heritage Site, not the neighbor's laundry in your courtyard. Don't forget that you're not just buying an apartment, you're buying into a lifestyle. Vinohrady is your backyard, and some of Prague's best restaurants are in your neighborhood. Actually, I've just been on a lunch in Papriže over there. The area around Náměstí Míru has everything: specialty coffee, shops, farmers market, and enough brunch spots to make you forget you're in Central Europe. For families, well, there are parks nearby and decent schools. But let's be realistic, if you're paying 237,000 per square meter, your kids are probably going to international schools anyway, or you simply don't plan to have kids. And here's the bonus, this area is only getting better. Metro D is coming, which will connect Náměstí Míru to the new line. The Nový Hlavák project will transform the main station area into something that doesn't look like it got stuck in 1975. So is a panoramic view of Prague worth 2.5 million extra? Well, someone thought so, and they bought it in 3 days. This isn't a flat for everyone. It's for people who want the best of address, the best view, and don't mind paying for both. It's for people who think that waking up to a castle view every morning is worth more than few dozen cars extra. Would I buy it? If I had 16 million lying around and wanted to feel like the king of Prague every time I open my curtains? Absolutely. Sometimes in real estate, you're not just buying square meters, you're buying the feeling that comes with them. And in this case, that feeling costs exactly 2.5 million crowns. What do you think? Would you pay extra for the view? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to see more real Prague property insights without the real estate agent marketing fluff, subscribe and tell me what areas to check next. See you in the next flat check.